So, the first episode of Invincible Season 2 just dropped, and after a long wait, it fully delivered. So much so that I was left frowning at my screen when I realized that the Amazon player saying next episode didn't mean episode 2, it meant the Adam Eve special, which was good when I watched it, but I'd rather have episode 2. Now this video isn't so much as a review of the first episode as it is a general praise of the show itself for something I think a lot of adaptations miss out on, and that's updating the source material. It's no secret Robert Kirkman has a hand on the wheel of this show, and it shows. Not just because it feels like the comic come to life, but because you can clearly see where he's added additions that he most likely regretted not implementing. Writers lament over it all the time. Once something is written and published, it's set in stone, and if you're like me and hyperanalyze your own work, going back to it will make you slap your forehead and wish you'd added more. But without a time machine, it's impossible. What's done is done. Unless you get an adaptation. And I'm not talking about changing the entire story while keeping the core premise. Captain America Civil War, for example, did that and made a convoluted, poorly written storyline into one of the best MCU movies ever. And I'm also not talking about adding completely new aspects of the plot, like new storylines, new characters. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a straight up adaptation that expands upon what was already there, and Invincible does that beautifully. And remember, this is just looking at Season 2, so I'm discounting all of the stuff already added in Season 1, like the extended investigation over the deaths of the Guardians of the Globe, or the added complexity of Mark's relationships, or even the brutality of Omni-Man's rampage. So, in just the first episode of Season 2, what do we have? We have Angstrom Levy, well, Levy as they pronounce it in the show, but I've always pronounced it as Levy, so I think I'm going to keep calling him Levy. And that storyline is already given so much more depth, especially with the idea of the memories of an Angstrom who rightfully hates Invincible, causing Prime Angstrom to fixate on him instead of having it be something as, mundane in the comics as blaming him for the accident. Now, I know also, he has brain damage from the accident, but still, having that aspect tie into the beginning of the episode and having that be the driving force of Angstrom Levy is a genius idea. On top of that, the fallout of Omni-Man's rampage and betrayal definitely feels a lot more concrete than it did in the comics, and I cannot wait to see what else this show has in store for us, because despite the fact that I've read through Invincible multiple times, I'm still adamant that Kirkman & Co. have some surprises up their sleeves that will leave even veteran readers with their jaws on the floor. This is just beside the point, but I really do think that the animation has also improved quite drastically. I mean, the animation in the first season was good, but there were parts where you could kind of see that it was a bit choppy, it was a bit off, but I didn't notice it at all throughout the entirety of this first episode. And the fight between Invincible and Omni-Man and the Immortal at the beginning of the episode, and the fight between the Maulers at the end of the episode was real good. Was really good. Really well animated. And I guess if I'm just doing general thoughts, completely out of my brain, I found it interesting. I can't remember, it's been a while since I've read through the comics, but was Bulletproof introduced this early? Can't remember if he was, but that's cool. Bulletproof's there. They're already sowing seeds for future storylines. It's gonna be interesting to see where they take this story, because depending on how many seasons, they could do everything and like I said before in this video, add more additions, add more, expand upon different storylines. So honestly, it could easily run for 10 seasons and not run out, because that's the beautiful thing about Invincible. That's one thing I've always loved about Invincible as a comic book. It's just like one of my other favorite comic books of all time is the IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is that it's its own universe. Yes, there are connecting storylines and other comic books that you can read in addition to it, same way Invincible has Invincible Universe and stuff like that. Even though it has all of that, it is still just a straight shot from issue 1 to the end. That's one thing mainstream comic books just don't have. They have runs, and at the end of the run, you're lucky if the next writer will take what happened in that run and, continue it. We're coming to the end of the Krakoa era, and we have no idea what's going to happen next. There's a new editor, there's new writers, there's new X-Men, who knows what's going to happen? Are they even going to keep Krakoa? We don't know. But with Invincible, like I said, it's one storyline, it's one writer, it's one universe, and at the center of it is Mark, and at the end of the day, it's his story. It's the story of Invincible, and I like that. I like being able to follow a character through his entire life. Like, I'm not gonna like drop major spoilers about the future of Invincible, but I do like that progress actually happens, and that resets are rare. You know, it's not always going 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, like a certain web-slinging someone. Anyway, all that to say, I'm very excited to see where Invincible is going to go next. I'm very excited that Kirkman is behind the wheel on this one and has a guiding hand. But yeah, anyway, that's my general thoughts about the first episode of Invincible Season 2. And, you know, giving it a little bit of an applause for how good it was so far. I mean, it's been 1 episode, but I'm optimistic. Hey there, as you probably noticed, this one's just a quick one. I just wanted to get my thoughts about the first episode of Invincible Season 2 out, because I watched it and I was just like, yep, I just want to gush about it. So I made a quick video, feeling a little under the weather, if you might have noticed in this video. But the good thing about being sick is you have a lot more time on your hands, and I think I'm actually probably gonna bang out a longer video after this one. See. I know it's been a while since I've posted, but, you know, hopefully we'll see an uptick. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a good one.